Hello?
Hello, this is Doc from iCountry 95.5. Is this Craig Johnson by chance?
It is, Doc. How you doing?
I'm doing great, sir. I'm doing great.
Good morning.
We so appreciate your time. Prairie Wife is with me as well. I just want to let you know, Craig, that Prairie Wife has had to sedate me a little bit. I am such a hardcore Longmire fan.
Cool.
I'm not kidding. The other day I was walking through the Walmart parking lot and I saw one of the Walt Longmire for Sheriff bumper stickers, and I wanted to give the person a hug.
He's not lying. He's fangirling over here.
Well, it's funny like that because all of the actors, when they come for Longmire days,
Yep.
like that, they come in. Generally, they come all in through Casper, like that, and it's so funny like that because when I was doing the operator thing last night with the airport guys, like that, I put on Facebook, just before Longmire days, heading down to Casper, had to pick up the actors, and doesn't the Casper Facebook Casper Airport Facebook guy write me back, Glenn, and say that flight's 20 minutes late, so you had a little bit of time, and I'm like, only in Wyoming would the airport write you on Facebook and tell you
right?
20 minutes.
I know. Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, you got the brand new book, Craig, called Land of Wolves that comes out on Tuesday. So I have so many questions. I'm not even sure where to start, Prairie Wife. I'm actually flustered here. So here's the thing, Craig. Thank you first of all for sending us an advanced copy of the book.
Yes.
My pleasure.
Prairie Wife
pleasure.
knows me too well that I'm really bad about accidentally giving out spoilers. So without me leading into the plot line of the new book, how would you describe the new book Land of Wolves yourself?
Well, the title says a lot of it. The title actually comes from an old Basque proverb that a land of strangers is a land of wolves. And Walt's just gotten back from Depth of Winter, last year's book, which is probably, I don't know, maybe one of the most harrowing books that I've written in the 15-book series. And so he gets back into Wyoming, and it's kind of like a stranger in a strange land. He doesn't really, feel, at home, back home, where he was born, where he grew up, where he's had his entire career and everything. And so he's kind of fighting, to try and, get back. And then, of course, to complicate matters, of course, I've always wanted to write a book where Walt just plays pinochle on his desk, but I don't think that would sell very well. So, but then what happens is, of course, that there's a dead sheep, and they have to go up in the Bighorn Mountains and the pastures up there, and Game and Fish is there, there's a game warden, and there's a guy from the Forest Service, and they find this dead sheep. Well, of course, the next step is they got to find the shepherd who's responsible for these sheep, and he goes and they find the shepherd, but then he's been hung, and so it looks as though it might be a suicide, but then again, as things develop, it looks like it might not be a suicide. And then to complicate matters on top of that, there's an appearance of a wolf, in the Bighorn Mountains, that's come over from the Lamar Valley. And, this is an aged, large male wolf who's kind of crippled up and gray around the muzzle and everything. And surprisingly enough, Walt has a little bit of an empathetic kind of quality, for this old crippled up wolf that seems an awful lot like himself.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to say, you talk exactly like you write. I am sitting here absolutely captivated. I've got all these visual pictures in my mind, just like I do when I read your books.
Well, Mr. Prairie Wife just got off of a sheep hunt.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he got one. He got a really good one. So,
cool.
You know what, Craig, that's what I think we Wyomingites absolutely love you for. The things that you have in your books, we can all relate to and connect to. And frankly, I feel like the character of Walt Longmire is a legend, and that most of us think of him as a real person. How does that make you feel as an author, that a character you wrote, people think of him as a live, real person?
Well, it was a little weird at first, because the books have been translated into about 17 languages, and I was a little disconcerted at first because I thought that means people all over the world are going to start seeing Walt as kind of this ambassador from Wyoming.
I think I'm okay with that.
And you know what? That's kind of the conclusion I came to. I thought, we could have worse. He's actually a pretty good guy.
Yep.
So I felt pretty good about that, and it doesn't offend me at all, that people kind of take him to heart and see him as being real, and then as far as the aspect of trying to keep it real with the books and everything, it was funny because the Office of Tourism for the state of Wyoming, I was talking with them the other day, and they said, well, why we love your books? And I said, no, why is that? And they said, well, even though it does take place in a fictitious county, even though Durant doesn't really exist, you use all of the correct roads, you use all the trails, everything that you use. If anybody comes into the state and asks, well, where can I find where this book takes place, we can tell them exactly where it takes place, which is kind of fun for me, too.
Yeah,
so
and
Craig,
Land of Wolves. Yeah, you're driving by Casper,
right? And Craig, I just came up with a genius idea. In LA, how they do the tour buses go past people's famous homes? We need to do a ride your horse or something like that past all these Longmire areas.
We do that a little bit with Longmire days up here in Buffalo, like that. And I'll tell you what, the amount of people that signed up to go out and go horseback riding with Robert Taylor, and Katie Sackhoff is kind of awe-inspiring.
I can tell you, Doc and I wanted to do it, but we had to work.
If we do this, Prairie Wife, I'm gonna have to be careful when I mow my yard because Craig doesn't know this, but I look like the Ferg.
Yeah, he looks exactly like the Ferg. Not even kidding. Not even kidding.
He's a very popular character.
We had the Ferg's aunt. I several months ago, Craig. I actually did a thing. 5 things I learned while watching all the Longmire shows on Netflix, and we had the Ferg's aunt actually notify us through the app that she was talking about Adam and what a great guy is.
Yeah, she heard us talking. I wasn't kidding, Craig, when I said that he's fangirling over this.
It's terrible. One thing I was going to ask you, by the way, in case you can't tell, we have Craig Johnson, the author of the Longmire series, with us here on the radio. We're going to say you're like our best bud from now on, Craig. By the way,
absolutely.
I was going to ask.
That's what those Walt Longmire for Sheriff bumper stickers are for, to get those APs to talk. Once you get them out there on I-25, if you can get them to talk, you got a fighting chance. Maybe getting out of it.
Right.
Bumper stickers are kind of handy that way.
One thing that my wife really got into with the series is that she realized early on that you as an author are not afraid to write an end to a major character. So, I'm wondering, how hard is it for you to end a character in your storyline that so many people are emotionally invested in?
Oh, it's tough. It's tough like that. But the thing that you constantly have to remind readers of is that this is law enforcement these characters are involved with. And it's a tough job that they're doing, and it's life and death situations. And so, it's not the usual, network sitcom, where they catch the bad guy and everybody laughs and everybody goes home. Sometimes that's just not the way it works out. And so it's important to try and have that kind of reality, I think, for the characters to deal with that, that it keeps it real once again. It's an important thing to me, that I not fall into that, satirical aspect of, sometimes that novels do. I want to keep it real.
Yeah, and I think that's what readers have connected with, because you're not afraid to show the dark emotional side, and who doesn't have that?
Oh, absolutely. Walt himself, is far from perfect. Mm-hmm. There's a big difference between the Walt of the books and the Walt in the TV show. And Walt in the books is what I tend to refer to as over. He's overweight, overage, overly depressed. And then you've got Robert Taylor, who's the 6'2" of twisted steel and sex appeal.
Damn!
A little bit different there,
So, and that's that kind of leads me to a question, Craig, about, as an author, the challenge of trying, when you have to deal with a book being made into a TV series, how do you work with the TV people to keep it true to the spirit of the books?
Well, it was pretty easy for me. I kind of went into it with my eyes open, and I realized that there were some changes that they were going to make. One of the first, altercations that I had with the producers of the TV show was they said, we're thinking about making Walt and Henry about 10 years younger than they are in the books. And I had the immediate redneck cowboy response where I was like, well, now, why are we doing that? and they said, well, because we'd really like the TV show to run for about 10 years, and we'd rather not have Walt and Henry on walkers by the time we get through.
But hey, that would be authentic. That would be authentic.
Okay. So I kind of understood where they were coming from, but they were also incredibly interested in making sure that they got things right. Mm-hmm. They had read the books. They really enjoyed the books. They knew that it was going to be a little bit different from the books, from the things that they were going to do. But they wanted to make sure that they got the tone and the feel absolutely right. And I think they did a pretty marvelous job with that. I was very, very lucky to have the people that I had to work with, and hopefully we'll continue to work with again. Right now we're in a 6-month, or rather, 6-season streaming contract with Netflix, with Warner Brothers. But Warner Brothers just, here in the last 6 months announced that they were going to do their own streaming platform. So we'll see what happens. Everybody's not too sure that, this may not be the end of the Wyoming Sheriff.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you now, is there really maybe possibly going to be a movie?
Oh, yeah, well, we're just waiting to see what's going to happen. I mean, probably what it would be TV movies like that, because it's kind of hard to
I'm
get
okay with that.
all of these people back, for the kind of schedule that they have, for a regular seasonal television, which is like about a 4-month stint, so it's kind of like maneuvers of the Eighth Army trying to get all those people back together again. But to get them together to do TV movies is a lot more, it's a lot more of a reality. Like it might be much more of a possibility. So, but in the meantime, Land of Wolves comes out on Tuesday, and I'm going to be right there in Casper at noon. It's a lunchtime event.
Yeah, don't think that we're not going to stalk you. I mean, show up and meet you.
Yeah, I was going to say, too, Craig, that I think you're right about the TV guys getting a lot right, because for some reason, I'm sure this is purely coincidence, but my wife, whenever she needs to pause the show, she always pauses it when Branch is on TV. I don't know what's up with that.
I've noticed that. But then again, Judy, my wife, it also refers to Robert as the TV version of me, taller, better looking, with a better voice.
Well, Craig, we know you're a busy man, and we certainly appreciate all your time. We know you need to kind of get on with your life here, but let's talk specifically about where you're going to be in Casper. Let's talk about the book signing.
I believe I'm going to be at the library, with the auspices of Wind City Books.
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
It's you guys are actually the very first event of the Land of Wolves tour, which is about a month long. I'm going to be out there on the road for a little bit more than 3 weeks, all over the country, that. But it's nice to start things off close to home, and so I'm looking forward to it. I mean, you write the books, in layers, and everybody gets different aspects of it, But it's the folks, that are in Wyoming that are going to get it, a lot closer than everybody else. And then the ones that are closer to our area up here, the Bighorn Mountains, the northern portion and all that, maybe get it even a little bit more. And so it's always fun to start out a little bit close to home.
Yeah, Craig Johnson, author of the Longmire series. We appreciate you, sir, so very, very much. And I can't wait for everybody to get their hands on this new book.
That's right.
I think they are going to love it.
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing you guys.